Guys, I think we all know the biggest story, at least for a lot of Razorback fans, and happened yesterday after our show, was about Darren McFadden, the GOAT, the greatest of all time, getting an honor for his achievements here at the University of Arkansas. Not a retired jersey, not anything like that, but does have a patch that will be worn by each Razorback football player that wears the number 5. And the patch, of course, looking with the DM for Darren McFadden and then a silhouette of Darren McFadden running. It was announced yesterday by Hunter Yurachek. They had a little video that they put out and everything. So it's, some people are upset. Some people have their own thoughts on it. But for y'all's perspective, what did you make of the honoring for Darren McFadden, the greatest Razorback football player to ever play? You like it, you love it, you hate it, you don't care. What is it?
I'm not upset about it. I'm happy. I'm glad that he's being honored. They needed to do something. I think it's a good move. I know some people are wondering if it's not enough, if they should have taken the extra step and, retire the jersey or build him the statue or whatever. But I'm just glad that they're honoring him. You could tell by his reaction to everything on social media and elsewhere that he's very, very appreciative of it. It means a lot to him. And that's the most important part, right? We all like to dig our, heels in the sand. It's like build Nolan Richardson his statue and retire this jersey, do this, do that. But it's really about honoring, the guys who have earned that distinction in our minds as fans. And so for me, when I heard what they were going to do, I was like, oh, okay, that's interesting. I'm glad they're doing this. But then seeing his reaction to it and just the genuine happiness that he has for receiving an honor like this, it's a yes for me.
Yeah, this is another case where I just realized that we all view everything through a completely different lens, and it kind of threw me off. So I saw the announcement, and we get an email from the U of A about it, and I was like, okay, cool. They're doing a little patch thing. I knew they weren't, of course, going to retire the number because I know we've been calling for this for a while. We've talked about it, but it's really tough to retire numbers in college sports, especially in a sport like football, where you have 100 people on your roster. To just do away with a number so popular would be tough. So I don't know if that's ever going to happen, but I kind of saw this and I was like, okay, cool. They're doing a little honoring thing. Any way you want to honor Darren McFadden, I'm cool with it. Fine, whatever. And I kind of forgot about it. I moved on and, went about my day, just, doing other tasks and not really thinking about it. And then I hop on Twitter later and there's just an outrage of people being so upset about it. And they're like, how could Hunter Yurachek do this to Darren McFadden? Whoa, what? I'm like, did I miss something? What happened here? And look, if someone says, hey, they should actually do a little bit more to honor Darren McFadden, I could maybe hear that argument. I'll hear what you have to say. Yeah, I could also hear if someone said, you know what, if you're not going to retire the number, don't do this garbage because this is this is just a half-assed thing or whatever. I could hear that argument as well. I don't really know why this would upset people, but it seems to have really struck a chord with the Razorback fan base.
Well, I'll give my thoughts on it because it was a little upsetting to me, but not for the reasons that most people may think. First off, I want to be clear. This is not a thing of at Hunter Yurachek or at this, because this is a bigger thing. I don't think that Hunter Yurachek was the one that decided this by himself and decided to do it by himself. This isn't the thing of coming after Hunter Yurachek or anything. And I'm also not going after McFadden or anything, because let's be honest, it's ultimately what means something to him and him talking about it. The only thing that kind of rubs me the wrong way about this is because I had Darren McFadden on my radio show about 3 or 4 years ago. And I know he was also on another different show on The Buzz. I know he was on a different radio show here in Arkansas because I went back and I looked at it. He had been calling, or if somebody had asked him, hey, what would you think about your jersey being retired, your number? He said, that's what I would love to have. He's like, it's not my decision. It's nothing, but anytime I see somebody wearing, he even had a quote saying, anytime I see somebody wearing number 5 as a Razorback, and it's nothing against those players, but it just rubs me the wrong way, is what he said. And so I kind of took that as, all right, well, that's what he wants. And then this comes out, and again, maybe he's changed his mind. Maybe he got convinced otherwise. But I just felt like, man, is that really what McFadden wanted? Maybe it is. It was just because I had heard that for so many times, and that's what he wanted. I always was saying that you should retire it. But also, too, it'd be one thing if you didn't have any numbers retired, but you kind of already set a precedent to where you do retire numbers. Because I agree with you, Andrew. Retiring numbers is a tough thing in football when there's 179,000 players on the roster. I understand that. But you kind of already set that precedent with 12 and 77 already being retired, which I'm not saying to take that away from him or being lighthearted about it. That's the decision, and that's fine, and I agree with it. So it's like, okay, but if you're retiring 2 numbers already, then you kind of set the precedent that you do retire numbers. And if you are going to retire numbers, then I feel like Darren McFadden should be one of those. Now, if this is the honoring and everybody's happy with it and the people that actually matter, that's fine. And I think Darren McFadden is the most important person to make sure that he's good with this. It was just for years hearing McFadden say, man, I don't like it when people wear my number. It feels weird, rubs me the wrong way. And then they don't do this. But then he's like, yeah, this is the best way to do it. And they got him saying all these things. It just makes you wonder, one, did he change his mind? Or two, was this one of those things that they did? And they were just kind of like, hey, man, make sure that you let everybody know that you're good with it too. Whatever it is, it's fine. But I don't know. I just felt like there could have been more. There could have been just a little bit more. And that's my opinion on the matter, I guess.
I don't think Darren McFadden's in a position where he has to toe the company line for the U of A. Like if I'm sure that they reached out to him about this, like, hey, here's our idea, here's what we'd like to do. And he was able to give his input on that. I don't think they hit him up. I don't think Hunter Yurchek called him and was like, hey, we're doing this and you're going to need to get your ass on Twitter and say that this is the best thing that ever happened. Otherwise, what? Like, what's the consequence for that? You know what I mean? So I'll take his word for it that he likes it, that he's happy for it. I understand 100% where you're coming from. I don't blame him. I'd probably feel the same way too, seeing some of those guys who've worn number 5 throughout the course of history since he's been out of there. But maybe part of the reason why he's okay with this, if he is okay with it, he said he was, is just that it could assign a little bit more meaning to wearing that number. And maybe it's a little bit too late for that now, although I think Cam Ball is a great representative for it. But being a little bit more selective about who gets to wear that jersey. And who is it, LSU that does that with a particular number? Yeah. So maybe it's something like that. That's right, 7. And if that's the case, I'm fine with it. I will always be in the camp of retire that man's jersey because he's the best who's done it here. I mean, it's just it's incredible, his accomplishments. I spent a lot of time looking through his highlights today, and I was like, man, we're just so far removed from it. Forgot how great he was. It's just unreal. But I get it. Yeah, it's a difficult thing to retire numbers, whatever. I think it's a nice gesture, and I'm just going to take his word for it and just assume that he's not getting strong armed by the U of A to put on a happy face.
Yeah, I guess this is where I'm struggling a little bit, is because I agree. Like, I can 100% see the case for retiring Darren McFadden's number. It's not that hard of a case to make. Sure. I think it would be really awesome. Yeah. I also think if they did it, I don't think there would be hardly any pushback. Like, I'm sure a couple players would maybe be like, players that don't know, like younger players, maybe recruits that are trying to wear that number or whatever, would be like, what the heck? Why can't I wear number 5? Like, I'm not saying there wouldn't be any detractors, but in terms of the fan base and the general public, I don't think there would be hardly any pushback at all if they retired number 5. John, you used that word precedent. I think that's a good word to use, because if some player comes through and accomplishes what Darren McFadden does, well, hell yeah, maybe we'll retire that number too. And so that's the danger you play of, like, once you start retiring numbers, and it's like, okay, well, where do you draw the line? It's like, hey, if we have a guy that's that good, yeah, we'll retire your number. We'll set that precedent. Okay. But I guess, like, when it comes back to the patch thing, because again, like I said earlier, I understand the reason why they can't retire the number and why they won't do it, and why in college sports it's just really tough to do that. Again, specifically football, where you have you have players that wear the same jersey number, but like, you have so many players on the roster and only so many numbers, and 5 is such a popular one. Yeah, you recruit number 1 overall quarterback in the country and he wears number 5 in high school, and he's like adamant, hey, I got to wear number 5. You kind of want to have that in your back pocket. I guess the patch, like, I guess I understand why people would say, hey, I'm annoyed they won't retire the number. That's perfectly fine and dandy. I don't see what the patch, does doing this patch disqualify them from one day retiring his number? Was this them saying, hey, we're going to give him this patch because we will never retire his number? Like, was that like part of the package deal? Like, this patch is basically the replacement for retiring his number?
No, I didn't take it that way, and I don't think so. It kind of could be, to your point, Ellis. Like, I don't know, you guys remember when they put Nolan Richardson's name on the court, and they put the Slobber Hog next to his name, but they didn't change the Slobber Hog logo in the middle, and everyone's like, why just do it? And then they ended up doing it. So, maybe that's something that happens. Is like, hey, we did this little thing, but then here soon we may actually go on and do it. I guess it's like, if you were going to do it in the way of giving a certain player, selecting a certain player to wear number 5 as an honoring thing, similar to other schools, I could get that. And maybe this is just not that as big of a deal, but I'm wondering, okay, so what if the person who's wearing number 5 like doesn't play? Like what if he's just a guy on the roster that's like a third string linebacker? I mean, again, nothing wrong with that, but I mean, who's seeing it? Who's going to be talking about it? But if you had someone selected for a particular player who's a starter, who's a captain, who's the best running back or whatever, you could at least continue to see it and it be out there too. But like things like that just is what kind of gets brought up. But also, I don't know if you guys feel the same way, but I saw actual people tweeting this argument to me. They said it's bad because it hurts you in recruiting. If a player really wants to wear that number, then you're losing players. I'm like, that's the most absurd thing I've ever heard in my life. I don't know any player, and maybe I could be wrong, but I don't know any player that's ever been like, you know what? I was going to go to the Arkansas Razorback football team. They had everything I wanted. However, they would not let me wear number 12. So I'm just not going there. Like I don't think that's a big deal. And I don't think that should be used as an argument, but I am curious of how it's going to be used for the future players, assuming that this is going to stick around and number 5 is going to be used a lot. Is it going to be towards certain players getting that number, or is it just going to be anybody and everybody who wants it and they just have to have that patch regardless if they're starting or not?
Yeah, and this is why I think I would do the LSU thing, where I think that's probably the best compromise possible. And hell, maybe even let Darren McFadden be in on that every year. It's like, maybe you do it with a team vote. Because, LSU has the number 7. They also have 18, which is like their senior leader thing. It's a little bit different. 7's their playmaker or whatever. I think that kind of stuff in sports is really cool. Matter of fact, in baseball, Dave Van Horn, who's not big on this kind of stuff, has been transparent about how he's like, when players remind me of other guys, I give them the same number. When I see a left-handed pitcher who's a hardworking guy and I think has a chance to be pretty good, I give him number 33. Like, I think that actually would be really cool. I guess again, like that what I'm confused by is like why we're mad about this right now. Like I get like the case for it. I just didn't think the patch was like representative of anything bigger than just they're doing some little thing and it's cool and we're gonna clap about it. I won't remember that this thing happened next Monday.
You could turn it into a great deal for content too, honestly. Like if it's a thing, hey, if we tell you at the end of camp or whatever that you're number 5, this is a big deal. You have DMAC FaceTime him or something, or you got to pop into Sam's office or whoever, and there he is, and he's like, "Hey, young buck, congratulations on the hard work. Respect this number," kind of deal. Stuff would go crazy viral, man. But yeah, I was thinking about what you said just a minute ago, John, about people demanding jersey numbers and stuff. That's probably closer to a thing in basketball, I guess, but especially football in the SEC, freshmen, you know what I mean? Like some kid getting recruited and coming in, you're probably not going to play for 2 or 3 years, and you don't have any clout in the number that you pick. Maybe a portal guy or something, but nah, man.
Was Tyrone Broden the last straw for number 5? Like once he wore it, they were like, all right, we got to do something here.
I've seen that in the chat like 10 times already, today, like Tyrone Broden wore number 5. Like, yeah, I know, but
yeah, it's amazing how many number 5s that since Darren McFadden have worn it. I mean, think Rakeem Boyd was number 5, Rocket Sanders was number 5, Tremaine Thomas was number 5. I believe, was it Matt Landers number 5, or am I making that up?
He was 3.
3, okay. Thought they had a wide receiver that was number 5 at some point, but either way, I also think, guys, too, just being honest, I think because they're using now at least the same jerseys that McFadden wore, it makes it almost like exponentially weirder. Because when they changed the jersey during the Petrino era and even like the Bielema era, when you wore 5, yeah, it's still, but it didn't look the same. But now they're the exact same jersey makeup. I think that just kind of really reiterates that too. So again, is this the end of the world? Is this the biggest deal in the world? No. But I don't know. I was just really hoping that something like this could be something a little bit more permanent and honoring and all of that. But who knows? Maybe they do it one day. Maybe it all changes up. But like you said, I think Cam Ball is a great rep to wear it. And also too, real quick, for the argument of people saying, oh, well, if this player wants to wear it or whatever and how tough it is, what happened when number 12 was retired? Steve Little, the kicker, wanted to wear it back in the 70s. And guess what he did? He went to Clyde Scott or the family, and they're like, hey, you mind if I wear this? Can I wear it? I'd love to do it. And they said yes, and he did. It could be something like that maybe with McFadden, where if it was a player that was like, I need this number, I have to have this number, then it's just like, okay, well, go talk to DMAC and see what he thinks. And, and then let him be the deciding factor. So again, doesn't mean anything in the grand scheme of things. This is not going to change the amount of wins and losses that Arkansas football is going to have this year. But it is something that is at least, because I think Darren McFadden, without question, is the greatest Razorback football player of all time. But he is a unique story for so many different reasons. And one of them being is because this is a dude that was a 5-star player. He wasn't a walk-on. Like, he was a 5-star player that took 0 visits to any other school. This dude was like, nope, Arkansas. And I think that that's also something that goes into the lore of DMAC and why he might be the greatest Razorback of all time. Is just, he grew up in Arkansas. He could have gone anywhere in the country he wanted to, did not take a visit, did not care. He's like, I want to be a Razorback. And so, I mean, because of that fact alone, and him still wearing Razorback gear in the NFL when he played for the Cowboys, like all of these things, just like, man, you honor that man and have him around as much as possible in the program, as much as humanly possible.
I also wonder exactly what the last little bit of that press release means, or what that's going to look like. I don't know if you guys read through the whole email, but it says the retired numbers of Clyde Scott, number 12, and Brandon Burlsworth, number 77, will join McFadden's number 5 on display inside Donald W. Reynolds Razorback Stadium. McFadden's number will be unveiled later this season during Arkansas's game versus Texas A&M on October 18th. Where are they going to put him? It
says if it's going to be on display
somewhere.
It says yeah. So the 12 and 77 will join McFadden's number 5 on display inside Razorback Stadium, and his number will be unveiled later this season during the A&M game.
Some arenas have them on like some strip somewhere. I don't know if they have a section in the stadium designated for that. That'll be interesting to see where that's at. Which, maybe by the way, I think that's a no-brainer. That's cool.
Yeah, maybe it's by where they have the Texas Bowl banner that never happened that people were so up in arms about.
Yeah,
that would be awesome. And I am not saying this is bad. I would just offer a thing that I think would be cooler. Just that's all this is. Just offering something to be cooler. I think, is it Auburn? I don't know who does it. But those jerseys, maybe have them on the outside of the stadium, like big, on like a brick pillar or something. So that way, anybody and everybody that ever drives by, they see it. And they see it, it's got the name, something like that. Again, it's cool wherever they put it. Maybe they put it inside the stadium in the corners or something. Like, I don't know. But I've always really thought it was cool when they had big things on the outside of the stadium. Because let's be honest, unless you're one of the 75,000 people that'll be going to a game, you ain't seeing it. But every single person that drives by that stadium would see it. So, maybe they'll have that. I like how they're doing it for the A&M game, though. That's smart. Yeah. That's good. That's good stuff, because they know that, hey, you never know what the season's going to look like, but we got to have something for that game to make sure that people are having fun and wanting to come to it. So,
yep, no doubt.
Last thing I'll say on this, because I think we're all three aligned that if they did the thing where it was a rotating announcement of one player gets it and it's your best skill position player or whatever it is, that would be cool. Going back to the point of recruiting, because you said, you mentioned, John, and I know you think it's like kind of overblown, how it's a negative recruiting thing if you don't have a prime number like that available. And I agree, it's definitely not something that like changes big picture a lot. I'll just tell you, without a doubt, there are 1,000% every single recruiting class, there are at least 1 or 2 kids who are weird about their number. And it might not be number 5, but I do know that's a thing. That is 100% a real thing. I think it would actually be reversed if you did the dispersing it. I think that would be a positive recruiting tool of like, hey, you could wear number 5 if you come to Arkansas, and you can't promise it to a freshman or whatever, but like to transfers, you could be like, hey, come play running back here and wear number 5. Like, I think it would turn into a positive thing rather than being a negative if you retired it. And so I think, I think there's ways to make this cool. And I know that the patch really isn't the coolest way possible, but I didn't think it had a negative impact.
The only tough thing about that too, now that I'm thinking about it, is depending on who you give it to. Like, what if you give it to a freshman or a sophomore? Do they just get to keep it for 3 years, or do you have to earn it, every single year? And then you might have to change because somebody else embodies the number 5 better than you do, or,
you can't have a kid wear number 5 and transfer either. That would be
you just can't do it, right? You have to sign some type of agreement that's binding to make sure that doesn't happen. Just some logistics to go through. That's all.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's all it is. We'll get to your chats and everything here in just a second, folks, because I know a lot of you have your own thoughts and opinions on this matter. But I'll tell you what, as part of our Alumni Hall question of the day, presented by our friends over at Alumni Hall, it's the #1 Razorback shopping experience. They have all of the shipments coming in for the Razorback football season and you can get in on it when it comes to the number one Razorback apparel. There's no better place to do it than with Alumni Hall. So check them out today, InsideArkansas.com/Alumni Hall. Use that promo code HOGSBY20 for 20% off your purchase. Simple as that. InsideArkansas.com/Alumni Hall, or you can scan that QR code up there. It's Alumni Hall, the ultimate Razorback shopping experience. It's a simple thing of for those of you out there that may have your own opinions on it. How would you want Darren McFadden's number 5 to be honored at Arkansas? Do you want it retired? Do you like it with the patch like they're doing? Should it be a selection of who wears number 5 or other? And 57% of you say retire number 5. 24% of you say select who gets to wear number 5. And then 17% say give a patch like what they're doing and putting it on number 5, with only 1% using other. And of course, no other reason was given. So either way, not like crazy thought process, but at least in this very accurate poll that completely represents the entire Razorback Nation, 57% would have liked for it to be retired. So either way, thought that was pretty fascinating too. Also, fun little trivia question, guys, on the outside of it. Can you name the college football program that has the most retired numbers?
Penn State.
I feel like because you're asking this as a trivia question, it's not obvious.
It's not, but it's also there's a couple of teams that are in the running for the most.
What's the number? How many numbers do they have retired?
It is 10.
Dude, 10 jersey numbers is a lot.
Yeah. I'll give you a hint at least. It's an ACC team. Yeah, it's an ACC team.
Florida State.
No, it's more North ACC.
Boston College.
Less north.
Virginia Tech.
Getting warmer. A little more north.
It's more north than that in the ACC.
I'm pretty sure they're in the ACC. At least God, I hope they are.
Syracuse.
No, closer though. I'll just tell you. It's Pittsburgh. It's Pitt.
Really?
Yep. They have 10 retired.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
They have, and some of them you probably remember, they have Larry Fitzgerald's number retired. Dan Marino, Tony Dorsett, Marshall Goldberg, Joe Schmidt, Mark May, who holds number 5, Jim Covert, Bill Fralick, Mike Ditka, and Hugh Green. All of them retired.
I got to be honest, it has a more like star-studded history than I realized. There's a lot of big names.
Holy cow, man. Did not know half of those. Wow. Okay. That's fair. Those are all worthy.
And they are also tied. Actually, there's a tie. I'm sorry, I miscounted. There is a tie because UCLA also has 10 numbers retired. Aikman's one of them. Kenny Easley, Kenny Washington, Gary Babon, Paul Cameron, Burr, Baldwin, Jackie Robinson, Jonathan Ogden, Don Muma, and Jerry Robinson.
Retired Jackie Robinson's number in football.
Yep.
Pitt clears by a wide margin.
Yeah.
It's a better list.
Yeah. And the final list, and I just think this one's kind of funny. As far as the most notable numbers, as far as the most common numbers that are retired, USC has that and then some. Because they have number 3 retired for Carson Palmer, number 5 for Reggie Bush, number 11 for Matt Leinart, 12 for Charles White, 13 for Caleb Williams, 20 for Mike Garrett, 33 for Marcus Allen, and of course, 32 for OJ. So they have that.
That's a lot of low numbers there. Like you just from like 1 to 15, like that's like 6 numbers right there. Like that's problematic, low key.
Yeah. So I just thought it was fascinating because there's again just a list of those, and also honorable mention of one is Fresno State. They have 9 retired numbers. So.
What about 9 at Fresno State? Okay,
David.
I was about to bring up Shadur Sanders and Travis Hunter, but you know.
Yeah. They joined the list of Bobby Anderson and Rashawn Salam and Byron White at Colorado. Salam. Yeah. So, but yeah, BYU's got a few. Obviously, they've had some pretty great players come through there. The Fresno State thing is they retired both the Carr brothers, plus Trent Dilfer, Devontae Adams. At least those are the ones of note. So, I mean, yeah, you're gonna have a few of those. But the point is that most of them have pretty notable ones. Like Michigan's got a bunch retired. Missouri's got surprisingly a bunch retired. NC State's got a bunch. Ohio State's got a bunch. So some schools. The point is some schools have a bigger thing on their whole, we're going to retire numbers than what other people do.
Can I make an announcement?
What's up?
I have changed my stance because I got new information. I honestly did not know there were that many retired numbers in college football. I'm just going to be honest with you. And that's, I mean, like a full transparency, I thought it was like super rare. Like I thought there was like maybe one per school. And like, the fact that Arkansas already had 2 was like pushing up. Knowing that there are schools that have 9, 10 jerseys retired, that's actually insane.
Yeah, I know.
Changes things a lot. Like that changes my perspective on it. I did not realize there were teams that had 8 or 9 of them retired. Like that's actually insane.
Are you guys proponents of having the jersey in the rafters, but not officially retiring the number?
I mean, I'm not against that.
Hang the jersey, but you can wear it. Maybe they. What if they did that? What if they said they're unveiling the jersey alongside the guys that are retired? What if they just hung it in the rafters and then did the thing with the patch and making it special to be able to wear number 5? Would that suffice? Or at that point, is it just like just retire the damn?
Yeah, I don't know. I think it is kind of weird to be having the jersey up there and then someone's wearing it on special teams.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Like, but yeah, I don't know. Maybe that's a happy medium there.
Yeah, I mean, again, it's to me as much as you can honor the man, and do it as much as possible. If it means doing all the above, just do everything. Like put a patch on the jersey that's already retired that nobody can wear. Have at it. Like if that's what you want to do. But
just name a suite after him. It's fine.
Yeah, there you go.
I do think there's something to be said though about if you retire someone's number. I mean, hell, we just admitted that we weren't aware of all these numbers that were retired in college football. I do think there's something to be said about if you retire a number, obviously if you have it up in the stadium, that's going to help. But it's like, does that make the guy kind of fade into oblivion more? Not that Darren McFadden's ever going to fade into oblivion, but if we retire his number, we're never talking about it again. We're going to talk about him, but we're not going to talk about the number 5. We're not going to talk about, how should we honor him? Because it'll be just kind of a done deal. Hell, I mean, Fresno's got 17 dudes that they've retired their numbers. I don't even know most of them.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that this is something that every school is different and everything. And I don't think that there's just one certain way that is the only way you can honor a player. It's just a matter of, okay, how do you honor everybody else? And I'm not saying that Arkansas for the next however long they're still a football program for thousands of years or whatever. I'm not going to sit here and say that there will never, ever, ever be a player ever amounting to as much as Darren McFadden. But the likelihood is pretty slim because the guy was that good. And even these days with people put together the all-decade teams of college football in general, almost all of them for the 2010s or the 2000s, I should say, is going to have Darren McFadden, Reggie Bush, or Adrian Peterson intertwined into that group. So, but yeah, it's a pretty cool thing. I can't wait to have it happen. Hopefully they do it right and hopefully they do it big and hopefully he gives the man the honor that he deserves because, as you said, Curtis, which we're talking about in our summer topics, he had a lot of cool plays that he was pretty good at the game of football.